So, the DHS has announced a full suspension of immigration and naturalization from 19 countries. The affected nations are Afghanistan, Burma, Chad, Republic of Congo, Equatorial Guinea. I've never heard of that before. I mean, I've heard of like New Guinea, but not Equatorial. Eritrea, Haiti, Iran, Libya, Somalia, Sudan, Yemen, Burundi, Cuba, Laos, Sierra Leone, Togo, Turkmenistan, and Venezuela. This is hella fucking based. Now, this list should be a lot longer, in my opinion, but I am very happy that we finally got a full suspension of immigration naturalization from some of the third world. The key word is some, because according to the UN, there are about 46 least developed countries and roughly 135 developing countries worldwide. Developing countries are often considered third world, including Brazil, sorry salt, India, and Mexico, and LDCs like Niger, Rwanda, and Cambodia. 4 days ago, President Trump vowed to halt immigration from all third world nations, but so far he's only suspended migration from about 41% of LDCs and roughly 14% of all developing countries. So this is why I said some in today's title for the stream. It's not most, unfortunately. Most would be like, I don't know, 60 to 70%. A lot more developing countries. Frankly, what I would prefer is Africa completely in red, the Middle East completely in red, Asia completely in red, including India, though that's his own subcontinent, all of Indonesia, and also all of South America and Mexico. Literally, this would be the most ideal. Just completely block off the global south and only allow Australia and New Zealand. And then, to really put the cherry on top, have very strict immigration when it comes to Europe. This is the right step forward. I will still push for more, but I will also still give a treat for what is done, because it could be worse. It could be none of these countries after all, like it was a couple days ago before this even happened. So it's still better than nothing, and now we just gotta keep on pushing forward. Like someone said earlier about actually striking Venezuela and letting refugees in, since Venezuela is actually part of the list of being banned, we won't be taking anybody in, regardless if they're actually technically refugees or not, because fuck Venezuela. Any improvement is better than nothing. Yeah, exactly. We wouldn't have gotten this under Biden. We wouldn't have gotten this under Kamala or any Democrat. Probably wouldn't have gotten this from any other Republican either, because all Republicans are basically rhinos at this point. Including Trump, by the way. I have been heavily critical on Trump for months now at this point, because he has not got far enough. He's made a bunch of promises and have not fulfilled them, and he's made things worse in other regards, like the 50-year mortgages and the 600,000 Chinese students. But this is actually one of the best things he's done in a very long time, in my opinion. And so I'm happy about it. This is a white pill. At least he dismantled USAID, US fraud. Oh yeah, that is another good thing. I mean, because it's not like he hasn't done anything good so far in his presidency. As he just mentioned, the USAID shit. There was the executive order against DEI, though there is some concern there still because of Bridge working in the background. He is allowing the Afrikaners to come in, and Afrikaners, remember chat, are specifically white South Africans. He's been actually allowing them in because they're actually real refugees that are actually being persecuted and killed on a regular basis. And there's been other good things. He's funded ICE a lot more. Apparently border crossing, southern border crossing specifically, is down like 99%. Is basically a secured border. ICE is raiding. He put the military into, the National Guard specifically into DC, and is trying to get them in other cities. Like, there has been a lot of good things Trump has done, and it's still better than nothing. And once again, things would be a lot worse under Kamala, and not in the good accelerationist way. It would be bad in the whole, wow, this country's really dying, isn't it, way. But he's also done a lot of bad things, and so therefore, I'm not exactly super happy with him. But if it's just a delay, because it is important to remember the judges keep on blocking his orders, and the fact that he's president and he's not terminally online like he used to be, he has people surrounding him, and apparently there's some rumors that some people are betraying him and influencing him in bad ways, and actually against what his base wants, and there's just a delay on what the people want versus what actually gets done, then I will probably be warming up to him again, because, well, as long as something happens, that's good. That's what matters. But then he also just doubled down on the 50-year mortgage thing recently a few days ago, so it's a mixed bag, that's for sure. He's not perfect, and it's frustrating, but we have to take the white pills when we can. I just hope that this does expand more from these countries. Like, there is a big noticeable difference that India and Pakistan are not banned. India, I understand because he is heavily influenced by the H-1B lobby, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. Even under Vance, I don't even see that changing, honestly. And it is because he has his Indian wife and kids. Does seem to be better than most Indians, but the fact that they actually named their kids Indian names is not exactly a good sign. Granted, that's also years ago, and a lot of people have changed over the most recent years. But unfortunately, I don't see an India ban, an H-1B ban happening anytime soon. Pakistan, though, there's no excuse. It's well known that Pakistan has a huge rape gang problem in Britain specifically, though it's Muslims in general, but it's Pakistanis that have a overwhelming majority when it comes to Britain. So why is Pakistan banned? I know they're just they're Muslim Indians, but still, Indians already bad enough. Muslims are pretty bad too. Muslim Indians, should be the absolute nail in the coffin to stop them coming in. Maybe I'm being too harsh. Maybe this will be expanded with time. I really hope it does. This is a start. But I'll actually read the policy memorandum because I think it's important to actually read the official document, even if it is filled with legal jargon that I don't fully understand because I'm not a lawyer. I'm just a retarded woman on the internet. So, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, December 2nd, 2025, Policy Memorandum. Subject: hold and review all of pending asylum applications and all USCIS benefit applications filed by aliens from high-risk countries. I feel like there should be more high-risk countries, but once again, it's a start. If purpose, effective immediately, this memorandum directs U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services, USCIS, personnel to 1. Place a hold on all forms I-589, application for asylum and withholding of removal, regardless of the alien's country of nationality, pending a comprehensive review. 2. Place a hold on pending benefit requests for aliens from countries listed in Presidential Proclamation PP 10,949, restricting the entry of foreign nationals to protect the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats, pending a comprehensive review, regardless of entry date, and 3. Conduct a comprehensive re-review of approved benefit requests for aliens from countries listed in PP 10,949 who entered the United States on or after January 20th, 2021. This memorandum mandates that all aliens meeting these criteria undergo a thorough re-review process, including the potential interview and, if necessary, a re-interview to fully assess all national security and public safety threats, along with other related grounds of inadmissibility or ineligibility. An individualized case-by-case review and assessment will be done of all relevant information and facts. USCIS would also conduct a comprehensive review of all relevant policies, procedures, and operational guidance for compliance, accuracy, and needed improvements during this time. This guidance outlines the adjudicative hold, procedural requirements, and processes for the re-review, interview, or re-interview of affected aliens. USCIS personnel are instructed to prioritize national security and public safety concerns and ensure compliance with all applicable laws and regulations during the adjudication process. All findings must be documented in accordance with established protocols to support any subsequent determinations or action. But from my understanding of this, because once again, not a lawyer and I'm a retarded woman, not only do we have a ban on 19 countries from the third world, but there's also a hold on asylum and seekers just in general, because it says regardless of aliens' country of nationality. So they are putting a pause on asylum seekers, which is great because not only is there the ban in the 19 countries, but there's a lot of countries out there that are not banned that just have people be like, oh, we're economic migrants, or, there's not actually a war happening here, but, we're from a poor shithole country, so therefore, we must leech off of taxpayer benefits and ruin them. So that's a good sign. I wish there would be paused for for the rest of their life, but a pause is still better than nothing. Also places a hold on benefit requests from alien countries listed, so goes back to the whole 19 countries being banned. And plus, they are reviewing the approved benefit requests from aliens from countries listed on the 19 countries that have come in from January 2021. So from the past 4 years now, almost 5 years, anybody from these 19 countries will be re-reviewed and interviewed. So the ones that are here can possibly be kicked out, including Somalia, which is great, and Haiti too. So the Haitians that are eating the cats and the dogs in Springfield, Ohio, well, hopefully they get kicked out. That would be amazing. Because they shouldn't be here. They have their own countries they can go to. I don't care they're a shithole. Make your country better. Almost none of these countries are in actual, like, serious wars, other than maybe the tribal wars in, like, Africa or whatever, but I don't care. Just because your country's a shithole does not give you the right to move to America. What benefit do you actually bring to coming to America other than leeching out the taxpayers? Nothing? Stealing the jobs? Taking more houses? No, I don't think it's a valid reason to be here. Make your country better. That's your country. You're called Somalian for a reason. You're called Venezuelan for a reason. Because you originate from that country. That is your country. I'm glad that they're being re-reviewed. Though once again, I feel like there should be more countries on this list. But, I mean, this is under Biden. There's a reason why it was selected January 20th in particular. So it should, hopefully, kick out and deport a good chunk of these foreigners that have come here over the past 4 years from these shitholes. I hope that's what actually happened. I hope that they're not re-reviewed and re-interviewed and they get to stay because they have sponsors and those immigration lawyers, and they have an AI translator that teaches them English or whatever the case is, because that's actually happening in some places, and are able to trick the system. It's not a human right to live next to white people? Yeah, it's not. I'm not fucking sorry that we created a decent functioning human civilization with running water and surplus of food to the point everybody's fat as shit, and actual working technology and toilets. Like, no, you build that yourself. Oh wait, you can't? Well, too bad. Sucks to suck, doesn't it? Maybe if you can learn to think 15 seconds ahead, you could actually develop that yourself, but you can't. $1 says or still get in via going through a third country. Oh, you know, that is possibly likely. Where, let's say, a Somalian comes through, fuck. I don't know enough of the African countries because I don't care about them. Let's say Nigeria. There we go. Let's say a Somalian comes through Nigeria and gets like fake passports and fake papers and says that they're actually Nigerian, even though their Yakub head shows otherwise. The paperwork says they're Nigerian, and since Nigeria is not actually banned from the list, they're allowed in. That would actually be a problem. That's a concern. Honestly, more of a reason just to ban the global south in general, so that's preventable. I hope there would be something in place to try to prevent people who commit fraud like that, because they will. They're scammers, they're leeches, and they want to come in and loot our country for their own benefit. There's nothing that's going to stop them from doing that, unless we have the policies in place to prevent that from happening, and I don't know if we do. I frankly don't really trust the system enough to stop that from happening. Trump is halting immigration from Nigeria too. No, at least asylum seekers. That's true, because that is being halted regardless of the country's nationality, pending a comprehensive review. So maybe that would be something to stop it. But there's other ways to get in the country other than seeking asylum. We have 1 million visas, unfortunately. Obviously, everybody knows about the H-1B. There's also like the L-1. The O-1's for the top of the top, so that's not gonna happen with a Somalian. They're too retarded for that. There's the tourist visa. The tourist visas actually have a lot of Eastern Europeans come and break the system. Come in a tourist visa for 2 weeks, be like, oh, we're here to see the sights of New York City, the Big Apple, and then they disappear. They don't actually leave. They don't renew their visa. They just disappear into the hellhole that is New York, get an under-the-table job, and eventually, you know, either marry an American and try to get their green card or something like that. The tourist visa is easily abused, and it's always abused all the time. It is a very common way for Eastern Europeans in particular to abuse the system. And, well, there's also the gypsies that come from that area, which I know they're not actually Eastern European, but they still live there. Romanians have their stereotype for a reason. Slavs in general have a stereotype for a reason, so they're not the best of the Europeans, that's for sure. The curious case of Eastern Europeans is that they're technically Western in the sense that they're still European, but thanks to the Iron Curtain and the Cold War and the separation from East or West European throughout the centuries in general, they are still separate and they still have a divide between them. And so they're not fully actually Western, but they're still European, and it's complicated. Eastern Europeans are low-key retarded, but they're physically Hyperborean. I would agree with that, despite the stereotypes. Background. On January 20th, 2025, the President issued Executive Order EO 14,161 while protecting the United States from foreign terrorists and other national security and public safety threats. This order aims to safeguard U.S. citizens from aliens who may seek to commit terrorist acts, pose threats to national security, promote hateful ideologies, or exploit immigration laws for malicious purposes. EO 14,161 underscores the importance of vigilance during the visa issuance process to ensure that individuals approved for admission to the United States do not intend to harm Americans or compromise the U.S. national interests. Then fucking scrap and deport all the H-1Bs. Seriously, they are a blight to society. Recently, the United States has seen what a lack of screening, vetting, and prioritizing expedient and educations can do to the American people. An African national, Nasser Ahmed Tawhidi, planned a terrorist attack in the United States on Election Day 2024. Tawhidi pled guilty in the federal court to conspiring and attempting to provide material support and resources to Islamic State of Iraq and Al-Sham, ISIS. Another instance, an Afghan national, Manuel Lachenwall, is suspected of planning and executing a terrorist attack in Washington, D.C. against 2 National Guard members, one who is killed and another who remains critically injured. USCIS plays an instrumental role in preventing terrorists from seeking safe haven in the United States and ensuring that USCIS screening and vetting and educations prioritize the safety of American people and uphold all U.S. laws. Actually, there was also another Afghani who was doing another terrorist attack in Texas recently, too. In light of identified concerns and the threat to the American people, USCIS has determined that a comprehensive re-review, potential interview, and re-interview of all aliens from high-risk countries of concern who enter the United States on or after January 2021 is necessary. Lastly, USCIS may, when appropriate, extend this review and re-interview process to aliens who entered the United States outside of this time frame. Honestly, what I would prefer is just deport. We don't need an interview. Just deport them. They don't belong here. We are way too nice as a society. This is not how a functional country works. We're fixing it, slowly but surely. This is not how a functional country works. USCIS remains committed to ensuring that all aliens from high-risk countries of concern that enter the United States do not present threats to national security or public safety. To address vulnerabilities during this process and in order to conduct a comprehensive review of all policies, procedures, and guidance, USCIS has determined that it must implement an adjudicative hold on all pending asylum applications, regardless of the alien's country of nationality, as well as pending benefit requests filed by aliens from high-risk countries outlined in PP 10,949. This hold will remain PM 602-0192, hold and review of all pending asylum applications and all USCIS benefit applications filed by aliens from high-risk countries, in effect until lifted by the USCIS director through a subsequent memorandum. Any request to lift the hold due to litigation or other extraordinary circumstances must receive approval from the USCIS director or deputy director. The formatting on this is actually kind of abysmal. I'm not sure if this is like because of this PDF that dropped off Twitter or if it's just bad forming from the DHS, but I guess I'm nitpicking here. You'd think it would be a little bit better, but I guess I'm nitpicking. So isn't there like, oh no, whatever. My OCD is going off. Guidance. USCIS has determined the operational necessity to ensure that all asylum applicants and aliens from high-risk countries of concern who enter the United States do not pose a threat to national security or public safety. This effort ensures that USCIS exercises its full authority to investigate immigration benefit requests filed by aliens who may pose risks to national security and public safety in the United States, as outlined in DHS Delegation of Authority 0150.1, issued June 5th, 2003. I'm not gonna read this because I'm lazy and we have a lot more to cover today, but I just want to say that I am curious what it actually has to say, since this was made in 2003, and the whole point of all the wars after 9/11 was to stop them in the Middle East in the sandbox before they come here at home, and instead we just import more and more and more and more Muslim immigrants, and we keep having more and more terrorist attacks. So, like, what good is this, actually? I feel like even though this was passed in 2003, nothing has actually come toward out of it. Like, I get that it's supposed to be something about, like, posing risks to national security and public safety, but the only thing we really ever got out of it was just more surveillance on our technology instead of an TSA versus spanning Muslims. USCIS will conduct a thorough review on a case-by-case basis to assess benefit eligibility, including whether 1. the alien is listed in the terrorist screening data set, TSDS as a known or suspected terrorist KST under Tier 1 or Tier 2 classifications, or is included in Tier 3 or Tier 4 of the TSDS with significant derogatory information related to the alien. 2. The alien is connected to prior, current, or planned involvement in or association with an activity, individual, or organization described in sections 212A, 3A, B, or F, or 237A, 4A, or B of Immigration and Immigration Nationality Act, I-9. INA. I am not a lawyer. 3. The alien is linked to a prior, current, or planned involvement in, or association with, an activity, individual, organization that may pose a risk of serious harm or danger to the community, including criminal conduct described in INA 101A 43, 212A1A, Roman numeral 3, 212A2, 237A2, or 237A4A, Roman numeral 2. Jesus Christ. The alien is unable to establish their identity as outlined in PPA 10,949. Okay, so minus all the legal jargon in there. I can parse the information correctly. Lord help me. They will do a thorough review on a case-by-case basis to assess benefit eligibility. Whether they're basically a terrorist, they're connected in some sort of terrorist possibility, or problems, and cause issues. They have problems with the Immigration and Nationality Act, and they're unable to establish their identity. Okay, pretty based. I'm for that. You know what would be easier? Immigration moratorium from the global south, or just completely the world in general. That would be also pretty good too. But you know what? Sure, right step forward. Dyslexia tuber. Listen, I'm retarded. I thought this was very clear. I am not a lawyer. I am a random, retarded woman on the internet that likes politics because she's suicidal. That's it. Okay? Okay. This process ensures that USCIS exercises full authority to protect national security and public safety while adhering to the provisions of the INA and applicable laws. USCIS has considered that this direction may result in delay to the adjudication of some pending applications and has weighed that consequence against the urgent need for the agency to ensure that applicants are vetted and screened to the maximum degree possible. Ultimately, USCIS has determined that the burden of processing delays that will fall on some applicants is necessary and appropriate in this instance when weighed against the agency's obligation to protect and preserve national security. Now, the question is, in that case, if they're being delayed, are they currently in the country or are they going to be outside the country? This is based off the previous context. It sounds like they're still in the country, and frankly, they shouldn't be here. So, like, one of my biggest qualms with our immigration system is that a lot of people come here illegally, or they scam the visa system, or whatever the fuck they do. The most of the time it is illegally, because if they already have a visa, then they've already been interviewed, blah blah blah. So, okay, they come here illegally, right? And then they apply for asylum or whatever visa program they're going for. So they're already in the fucking country. They're already working on the table, already working with immigration lawyers, already stealing social security and shit. And now they're applying for asylum. I hate it. I hate it so much. If you're gonna apply for asylum or whatever visa program, do it in your actual origin country. Don't sneak into the country and then do this later. Not how it's supposed to work. So the fact that these are delayed, I get it. It's because there's too many of them, but this is where it goes back to just deport them. Who cares? You don't have to do an interview. But that's how a functioning country's supposed to work. That's how it worked 100 years ago, 200 years ago. It's how it worked for entirety of human society. You can just deport people because they're not supposed to be here. It's only within the past 60 years, ever since the end of World War II, that we really soften ourselves and have this whole liberal morality where, oh, we can't hurt people. They're humans too. No, fuck them. It's so frustrating. But once again, this is a white pill. This is the right step forward. We're heading in the right direction. Meh. Just because it's not what I want doesn't mean it's not good. Within 90 days of issuance of this memorandum, USCIS will prioritize a list for review, interview, re-interview, and referral to ICE and other law enforcement agencies as appropriate, and in consultation with the Office Policy and Strategy and the Fraud Detection and National Security Directorate, issue operational guidance. EM 602-0192 hold a review of all pending asylum applications and all USCIS benefit applications followed by aliens from high-risk countries. This policy memorandum is intended solely for the guidance of USCIS personnel in the performance of their official duties, but does not remove their discretion in making adjudicatory decisions. It may not be relied upon to create any right or benefit, substantive or procedural, enforceable under law or by any individual or other party in removal proceedings and litigation with the United States or in any other form or manner. We did it, chat. I got through it. It was super fucking short. I like actually reading the documents as best as possible when I can, if they're not too long and not too full of, legal jargon stuff, because it's one thing to get it off Twitter and read it, and it's like, hey, this is hella base, I support this, blah, blah, blah. But if you actually read the fine print, you can usually get a better understanding of what's actually happening, and you can figure out if it's like there's some stuff snuck in to make it worse or whatever the case is. Like, I feel like it is important to actually read the fine print when it comes to this stuff, when and where possible. And on top of that too, this is from a few days ago now, but Secretary Kristi Noem of Homeland Security says she just met with the president. I'm recommending a full travel ban in every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Our forefathers built this nation on blood, sweat, and the unyielding love of freedom. Not for foreign invaders to slaughter our heroes, suck dry our hard-earned tax dollars, or snatch the benefits owed to Americans. We don't want them, not one. Hella fucking base. Which, granted, she's a woman, so you can only give her a few grains of salt, and she's said some things before in the past that I'm not exactly happy with. And as people bring up H-1B and L-1B visas, India. So this was December 1st. This document came out December 2nd. So obviously, in my opinion, there's not enough travel bans on every damn country that's been flooding our nations. The list needs to be longer, as we've discussed a lot so far. This makes me hope her saying this is not just within context of these countries, but there will be more countries added to this list. Because let's be honest here, there's a lot more countries than these 19 that should be banned. So hopefully this list gets expanded upon because of what she's saying, but that might be a little bit too much copium there. Top of that, somebody broke down what we just read to make it a little bit better and more understandable. Effective immediately, USCIS has issued new guidance that halts all immigration and naturalization processes for migrants from 19 travel ban countries, including green card and U.S. citizenship applications, legal immigration. This means that someone has already passed the citizenship test, they can't have the U.S. citizenship ceremony, and cancellation notices for these ceremonies are already going out. According to the guidance, this will apply to migrants who came from these 19 countries after January 20th, 2021 by the inauguration, and each will be re-interviewed on a case-by-case basis to screen for national security threats. Now, the best part about this is apparently there are Reddit threads popping up with people confused after receiving cancellation notices for their U.S. citizenship ceremonies. So, chat, not only have there been bans happening, but they're already taking effect. Like, it really is immediate. Why is December 3rd naturalization oath ceremony canceled in Portland, Oregon? That's insane. That's amazing. I love it so much. Apparently, like, December 3rd was supposed to be the naturalization oath ceremony, and the day before, they're like, nope, suck your dick. You have to just just deal with it. December 1st, 2025, oath ceremony canceled. On December 1st, 2025, we canceled the oath ceremony appointment scheduled for your Form N400 application for naturalization, receipt number crossed out. We will notify you by mail if the appointment is rescheduled, a decision is made, or the office needs something from you. Based! We're trying to understand whether this is an isolated cancellation or if others with Portland ceremonies this week have received the same update. Has anyone else in Portland had their oath ceremony canceled, or is anyone familiar with this type of situation? Thanks for any information. Did everyone from the 19 countries list got their ceremonies and citizenship interviews canceled today? Share your experience, please. I like how it's still broken English, actually. Did everyone from 19 countries list got their ceremonies? That's not the proper English there. Even me, the retard, knows that. Somebody replied with it, saw quite a few cancellations today from COC lists, unfortunately, and they had a link from Breitbart. And then there's another one, oath ceremony canceled. Why does this happen? Once again, broken English. Why does this happen? Not how did this happen? Not why is this happening? No, why does this happen? God, it's so painfully obvious. It almost hurts. It almost hurts if it wasn't so fucking funny. And they're eating their just desserts. Oath ceremony canceled. On December 2nd, 2025, we canceled the oath ceremony appointment scheduled for your Form N400 application for naturalization receipt number blank. We notify you by mail if the appointment is rescheduled, a decision is made, or if the office needs something from you. If you move, go to www.uscis.gov/address change to give us your new mailing address. Oath ceremony canceled. And then they also add apparently when the schedule was canceled and stuff. So seems like a lot of people are not getting their passports, not getting their paperwork now, which is great. However, they're still in the country, so they should just be deported because they're still stuck here, right? They still have a job, They're still probably leeching off our taxes. They're still existing in America, so they still should just be deported. Like, I'm glad the ceremony was canceled because once they get the paperwork, we can't get rid of them now. They're Americans. The paperwork says so. I'm glad that barrier is out of the way at least, because there's too many people still to this day that actually unironically believe that just because you have paperwork that says you're American, you are American. That's not how it works, buddy. That's not how it works. Americans are their own people. I love being legally replaced. Exactly.